The high inflation we are experiencing now is causing acute distress for the people of this country. I know they are worried. I know people are struggling. As we support people more, we need to think about the fairest way to fund as much of that cost as possible. The oil and gas sector is making extraordinary profits, not as the result of recent changes to risk-taking or innovation or efficiency, but as the result of surging global commodity prices, driven in part by Russia's war. And for that reason, I am sympathetic to the argument to tax those profits fairly. And so, like previous governments, including Conservative ones, we will introduce a temporary targeted energy profits levy, but we have built into the new levy, a new investment allowance similar to the super deduction. That means companies will have a new and significant incentive to reinvest their profits. The new levy will be charged on profits of oil and gas companies at a rate of 25%. It will be temporary, and when oil and gas prices return to historically more normal levels, the levy will be phased out with a sunset clause written into the legislation. And crucially, with our new investment allowance, we are nearly doubling the overall investment relief for oil and gas companies. That means for every pound a company invests, they'll get back 90% in tax relief. Yeah. So the more a company invests, the less tax they will pay. I know the whole House will agree. We have a responsibility to help those who, through no fault of their own, are paying the highest price for the inflation we face. To help with the cost of living, we are going to provide significant, targeted support to millions of the most vulnerable people in our society, those on the lowest incomes, pensioners and disabled people. First, people on the lowest incomes. Over 8 million households already have incomes low enough for the state to be supporting their cost of living through the welfare system. They could be temporarily unemployed and looking for work, unable to work because of long-term sickness or disability, or on low pay and using benefits to top up their wages. Right now, they face incredibly difficult choices. So I can announce today we will send directly to around 8 million of the lowest income households a one-off cost of living payment of £650. Support worth over £5 billion to give vulnerable people certainty that we are standing by them at this challenging time. DWP will make the payment in 2 lump sums, the first from July, the second in autumn, with payments from HMRC for those on tax credits following shortly after. There is no need for people to fill out complicated forms or bureaucracy. We will send the payment straight to their bank accounts. Our policy will benefit over 8 million households in receipt of means-tested benefits from July. Uprating in that time frame could only be done for those on universal credit, and our policy will provide a larger average payment this year of £650, whereas uprating the same benefits by 9% would be worth only on average £530. There are 2 further groups who will need extra targeted support. Many pensioners are disproportionately impacted by higher energy costs. They can't always increase their incomes through work, and because they spend more time at home and are more vulnerable, they often need to keep the heating on for longer. And we estimate many people who are eligible for pension credit are not currently claiming it, which means there will be many vulnerable pensioners not receiving means-tested benefits. So I can announce today that from the autumn, we will send over 8 million pensioner households who receive the winter fuel payment an extra one-off pensioner cost of living payment of £300. Disabled people also face extra costs in their day-to-day lives, like having energy-intensive equipment around the home or workplace. So, to help the 6 million people who receive non-means-tested disability benefits, we will send them, from September, an extra one-off disability cost of living payment worth £150. Many disabled people will also receive the payment of £650 I have already announced, taking their total cost of living payments to £800. And I can reassure the House that next year, subject to the Secretary of State's review, benefits will be uprated by this September's CPI, which on current forecasts is likely to be significantly higher than the forecast inflation rate for next year. Similarly, the triple lock will apply for the state pension. Of course, we recognise the risk that with any policy there may be small numbers of people who will fall between the cracks. For example, it is not possible right now for DWP or HMRC to identify people on housing benefit who are not also claiming other benefits. So, to support them and others, we will extend the Household Support Fund delivered by local authorities by £500 million from October. This is a significant set of interventions to support the most vulnerable in our country. We will legislate to deliver this support on the same terms in every part of the United Kingdom, including Northern Ireland. And taken together, our direct cash payments will help 1/3 of all UK households with a cost of living support worth £9 billion. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, we are meeting our responsibility to provide the most help to those on the lowest incomes. I believe that is fair, and I'm confident the House will agree. But there are many other families who do not require state support in normal times. They are also facing challenging times. Is it fair to leave them unsupported? The answer must surely be no. While it is impossible for the government to solve every problem, we can and will ease the burden as we help the entire country through the worst of this crisis. So we will provide more support with the rising cost of energy, and that support will be universal. Earlier this year, we announced £9 billion to help with the cost of energy, including a council tax rebate of £150 for tens of millions of households. And we plan to provide all households with £200 off their energy bills from October, with the cost of that repaid over the following 5 years. Since then, the outlook for energy prices has changed. I've heard people's concerns over the impact of these repayments on future bills, so I've decided that those repayments will be cancelled. So for the avoidance of doubt, this support is now unambiguously a grant. And furthermore, we have decided that the £200 of support for household energy bills will be doubled to £400 for everyone. We are on the side of hard-working families with £6 billion of financial support.